Great. Hello, everyone, and welcome. As you know, I'm Samantha Weisbach. I'm the owner and general manager here at Dancewear Center. And today I'm back with another interview. I have a very special guest. I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves.
Hi, Samantha. Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Santina Rigano-Lesch, and I'm the owner and CEO of Don't Do It Yourself Virtual Assistant Services, aka DWC. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you here. It's not your first time being interviewed, but it's your first time for like our video blog. So I'm very excited. So can you share a little bit? I just want to learn a little bit more about you, share your background, tell us all about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to try and summarize this in a quick little snippet because I think, as we all know, we all have extensive stories. So let's go with I originally was born and raised in Australia, Adelaide, South Australia, and I came over to the States when I was 21 as an au pair. I've been dancing my whole life since the age of 4. My mum literally put me in dance class because she was like, you are not ending up on the streets, and so I'm going to give you a hobby. And that just happened to be what I fell in love with. It was my passion and all the things. And so throughout my time in Australia, not only did I study various styles from ballet to jazz to hip hop to heels to Broadway, all the things, but I also managed a performing arts company and coached national hip hop champions. And then when I came over to the States, even as an au pair, I was putting myself into the dance world because I wanted to experience what it was like here. I started in Philadelphia, and then I ended up moving to Seattle, where I met my now wife, and the rest is history there, as they say. And in that time, started a dance studio in West Seattle, built it from the ground up, teaching about 400 kids a week, aged 2 to 12, which was amazing. I loved it. And then the pandemic hit and we pivoted. And so now I have 2 businesses. And this particular business was born pretty much because of the pandemic, but also because I knew as a studio owner how much I struggled to find remote support, virtual assistant, social media management, and podcast management. Where the support that I had could speak my language, aka the industry language, and I didn't have to go redo all the work, and was like doing all the things I needed to. And so I kind of, Didivas kind of was birthed out of that whole concept, to be able to support other studio owners and schools and dance and fitness and child-related brands, businesses, companies, and professionals. So we've kind of done a full pivot. And while I'm still dancing and still offering online classes in my other business, this particular business here, it feels really freaking good to be able to give back to the industry in this way that's a little bit outside of the norm of what I ever thought my dance world would look like.
Yeah, that's so great. And yeah, so you kind of already touched on it in talking about your background, but can you give us kind of like an overview of the programming that you're offering for this business?
Yeah, and so do you mean for like what we're doing for lunch and learn, or do you mean for something else?
No, just for your company in general. So your company's name is, say it again.
It's Didivas, but it's also like in expanded format, Don't Do It Yourself Virtual Assistant Services.
Don't do it yourself virtual assistants. Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about that. Cause I like, what specific things are you offering?
Yeah, thanks, Samantha. I appreciate you clarifying. Thank you. Thank you. So things that we're offering or that I'm offering is in the virtual assistant side of things, you're kind of like administrative tasks. So things like for studios and schools, it would be something like, website management, actually for all of them, website management, putting classes into the enrollment software, getting email copy done, getting emails out, things like that, right? All those sort of like what we would call maybe mundane tasks that other people don't enjoy, but like I get lit up by because I get really excited because I'm such a nerd about it. So that would be kind of virtual assistant side. Social media management side would be more about crafting and creating content, strategizing about the content, trialing and erroring what works, what's not working, and then also engagement, and really bringing up also the online presence, which kind of crosses over virtual assistant as well. And then podcast management would be more about creating a podcast and managing editing the podcast, getting the podcast out on the channels, creating audiograms, all the things that kind of go in that, dealing with guests. I mean, the list can kind of get a bit extensive, but what I love about the way, your face, you're like, yes, but what I love about the way that I do it, which is a little bit differently to everybody else, is that all of those services, like those three umbrella services, kind of go under one. And so I don't ever make my clients, aka my bizmates, choose what they want. Like they don't have to sign up for a package just for virtual assistants. They get all of it and they can switch and choose whenever they feel a need to, just because they're so blurred, the lines. It's really hard to be like, oh, you're only virtual assistant? Okay, well, we can't do this for your social media. It's just, for me, I'm not a fan of that. So I prefer to have it open, let them choose, and then we kind of go from there.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like super helpful.
Thank you.
You're giving people time back to do the things that only they can do. It's so great.
Well, exactly. And, like we're not all genius at everything, right? And one of the hardest things to do as a studio owner, as someone in the industry, as a, even for yourself, Samantha, right? Anybody who's in this sort of an industry, one of the hardest things to do is outsource and ask for help. And once you do that and you find the right help, like I'm all about, pretty much my core values within DWC are collaboration, communication, and care. Collaboration, because like that's thank you. That's where I feel like the best quality work happens, when we're collaborating together. We're bouncing ideas off of it. We're figuring out the solution, whatever it might be. And then we're also collaborating in the community, right? Then communication in the way of like when I had remote support, I really struggled to find someone who was proactively communicating and, doing what I needed to do to find out what I needed. And so that for me is a hot number one. Like I'm always probably over communicating, let's face it, but at least the communication is fully there. And then care, because not only do I care about the business or the company or the studio that I'm working with, the brand, etc., but I actually, can I swear? No, okay. I absolutely care about about the CEO behind, right? Behind the business and the brand and all of that. And so that also comes through in everything we're doing. I'm glad I asked. No go.
That would be a fun adventure in censorship for us. Uh, well,
Love it.
that's so great. Okay, so for those of for our audience members that maybe don't know about this, DWC does a monthly lunch and learn series. We bring in local experts in our community to talk. It's the last Wednesday of every month, just like a 12:30 to 1:30 lunch hour presentation. You can bring a sack lunch or a snack, and just get comfortable here in our event space. And then we get presented to essentially. So you're going to be presenting, coming soon. And so can you talk a little bit about what you're going to be sharing with our audience?
Absolutely. So when I am coming to present at Lunch and Learn, which I'm so excited about, is I'm going to be talking all about culture and creating content with ease through that cultural lens. And what I mean by culture is I mean like the human and the culture or the core values that we want to represent in our brands, our businesses, our studios, etc. Right? Everything that I kind of cover. The core values we want to bring forward, and not only understanding and identifying or refining or redefining, because as our businesses shift and change, sometimes they do too. Then understanding how to bring that forward in our content so that we become undeniably the go-to in the area, right? We're standing out on social media, in our online presence, outside of things like, come join me for this hip hop class, which is all well and good, and we need that sort of content, but what really kind of sets us apart is the understanding of the culture and why I would want to come to you over the studio down the road, for example. So we're really going to be breaking down things like understanding what culture is, learning how to define our core values, how this comes across in our content, and then understanding how to create content from this lens of core value and culture.
So it just brings like a whole new level of like cohesiveness, like is what you're kind of aiming for.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we want to really like spotlight and capture what sets you apart versus Sandy down the road or whoever it might be, right? What sets you apart? Like, because while we are all doing our own things, we all do have things in common that are similar, right? And so it's not necessarily about like this person versus that person. It's about really bringing forward those values so that as people are looking at your content, potential families, potential students, potential clients, and your current families and students and clients, they're seeing like, the ones are like, yes, that's why we go there. We love it, and they're sharing and they're getting the content out. And the potential ones are like, oh, well, maybe we really align with this particular core value. We really think we want to go there. Let's suss them out a little bit more. And in an online space that is so noisy, this is one of the ways that we can start to stand out and really share what we're doing, everything that we're about.
Yeah, love that. Like super valuable. Um, awesome. Well, very cool. We're so excited to have you. Before we leave, are there any resources that you want to share with our audience? Are there, how can we find you? All of that good stuff.
Yeah, thank you. So resources wise, I would say in addition to Lunch and Learn, I also run a free monthly workshop online. And so if you head to my Instagram, which is really where everything is updated and kept pristine, let's say pristine, Instagram at Didi Vass, and I'll spell that out. It's DDIYVAS. I normally have to look at it because I'm like, wait, what is it? So don't do it yourself, virtual assistant services. But in the acronym, if you head there, you're going to see in my link in bio all my upcoming free workshops as well. And they're really great resources because in my workshops, I am not one to sell anything that I'm doing. I'm really there to educate, to help implement, and to help strategize. I'm really taking a bit of a different look and approach to it than a lot of other people. So resource wise, not only is my Instagram account a great place for that, but also these additional workshops where you can continue to learn and implement and do other things. Yeah.
Awesome. We are so excited to have you. Make sure everybody you can check the links below. There's going to be links to register for the Lunch and Learn, links to find you, of course, online, and we will see you next time.
I can't wait. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.